Today, we're diving into something that is crucial but often overlooked in the dating world: boundaries. We all want to find love, but the key to building healthy, lasting relationships is understanding where to draw the line. Can you set boundaries and still find love? Let's find out together. When it comes to dating, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of meeting someone new. The thrill of those first conversations, the butterflies, and the sparks flying. It feels like anything is possible, and it's easy to let your guard down. But, amidst all the excitement, there's one thing you can't afford to ignore: setting boundaries. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and communication. And a huge part of that is knowing what you need and what you won't tolerate. Boundaries are essential not just for your well-being, but also for fostering trust and respect between you and your partner. So today, we're going to talk about why boundaries matter, what types of boundaries you should be setting, and how to communicate them effectively. The challenges of dating without boundaries. Let's be real for a second. Dating can be overwhelming. You're trying to get to know someone, see if there's a real connection, and juggle all the ups and downs that come with building something new. The pressure to figure things out fast can make you forget about your own needs. It's easy to lose yourself in the process, to prioritize someone else's wants over your own, and to blur the lines of what's acceptable in the relationship. When we don't set boundaries, we risk emotional burnout, resentment, and sometimes even feeling stuck in unhealthy situations. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you didn't want to speak up about something because you didn't want to rock the boat? Maybe you agreed to something you weren't comfortable with, just to keep the peace or avoid conflict. I know I have, and trust me, it doesn't end well. It's a cycle where your emotional needs go unmet, and the relationship begins to feel draining instead of fulfilling. But it doesn't have to be that way. Setting clear, healthy boundaries from the start can save you from this chaos and set the tone for a respectful, balanced relationship. Why setting boundaries matters. The reason boundaries are so important in dating is because they establish what's acceptable and what's not. They help you maintain your sense of self, your values, and your emotional well-being. Boundaries are there to protect you, not just from others, but also from yourself, because let's face it, sometimes we let our emotions make decisions that aren't in our best interest. When you set boundaries, you're not just safeguarding your well-being, you're teaching your partner how to treat you. You're saying, "This is who I am, this is what I need, and this is how I expect to be treated." Boundaries help create a healthy dynamic where both partners are respected and valued. Without them, we risk falling into patterns of emotional overwhelm, guilt, and resentment. When we don't communicate our needs or feelings, we might feel like we're walking on eggshells, unsure of what's okay and what's going to cause an issue. This uncertainty can create anxiety and prevent the relationship from developing in a healthy way. But when boundaries are clear, you both know where you stand, and this clarity builds trust and mutual respect. Types of boundaries to set in dating. Now, let's talk about the different types of boundaries you should consider when dating. I'll break them down into 3 key categories. 1. Emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries are about protecting your emotional health. They involve understanding what you're comfortable sharing, how much emotional energy you're willing to give, and what kind of emotional support you need in return. For example, it's essential to communicate when something your partner says or does hurts your feelings, or when you need space to process your emotions. Setting emotional boundaries also means knowing your limits when it comes to conflict. If you're the type of person who needs to take a break when an argument gets heated, it's important to communicate that early on. This is not about avoiding confrontation, but rather about protecting yourself from unhealthy emotional exchanges. Boundaries are not walls. They're doors that let in healthy connections while keeping out what doesn't serve you. 2. Physical boundaries. Physical boundaries are just as important, especially when it comes to intimacy and personal space. What are you comfortable with in terms of physical touch? How do you feel about physical intimacy, and how fast do you want things to progress? It's essential to express these limits clearly to your partner, and, equally important, respect their physical boundaries as well. This isn't about being prudish, it's about having the confidence to say, "This is my body, and I deserve to feel comfortable and respected in how it's treated." Everyone moves at their own pace, and that's perfectly okay. A healthy relationship will allow both partners to feel comfortable in setting and respecting these boundaries without judgment. 3. Time boundaries. Time is one of our most valuable resources, and setting boundaries around it is essential in dating. How much time do you want to dedicate to your partner versus your friends, family, work, and personal hobbies? Be clear with your partner about your expectations for time spent together and how often you want to communicate. It's important to strike a balance between building a relationship and maintaining your own independence. It's easy to get swept up in the early stages of a relationship and feel like you need to be constantly available. But overcommitting your time can lead to burnout, and it can also make the relationship feel unbalanced. Having clear time boundaries helps both you and your partner stay grounded, and it ensures that the relationship doesn't overshadow other important aspects of your life. Let me share a story from my own life that really highlights the power of setting boundaries. A few years ago, I was in a relationship where I didn't establish clear boundaries from the start. I was so caught up in the excitement and emotions of being in love that I neglected my own needs and desires. Eventually, I found myself overwhelmed and resentful. I felt drained and unappreciated. It wasn't until I finally spoke up and set some boundaries that things started to shift. I communicated what I needed emotionally, physically, and in terms of time. And once I did, I noticed a huge change, not just in the relationship, but in how I felt about myself. I began to feel more confident, respected, and valued. Boundaries gave me the clarity I needed to be in a healthier relationship with both myself and my partner. Setting boundaries in dating is not about being controlling or possessive. It's about honoring yourself, your emotional health, and your needs. It's about building a foundation of trust and respect where both partners can thrive. By clearly communicating your boundaries and respecting those of your partner, you're not only protecting your well-being, you're fostering a relationship that has the potential to grow into something healthy and fulfilling. So, remember, boundaries are the building blocks of a healthy, lasting relationship. And when you set them, you're telling the world that you value yourself enough to protect your emotional, physical, and mental well-being. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Have you ever struggled with setting boundaries in dating? Drop a comment below and share your experiences. I read every one of them. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos on relationships. Stay tuned for the next video, and remember, your boundaries are worth respecting.